Republicans are deciding that it is the Democrats' fault, that this fire and the winds would have absolutely respected a Republican governor and mayor and a Republican male, straight cis white male fire chief. And they're like, no, we shouldn't help California rebuild. The Biden administration has committed to like 100% making everybody whole. It's the same thing he did in North Carolina. It's the same thing he did in Florida. It's the same thing he's done after every single one of these natural / not natural disasters. But now Republicans are changing their tune. Here's Mike Johnson being asked by CNN what he thinks of tempering aid, conditioning aid to Californians who are literally homeless right now.
Are you open to providing aid to California without any conditions at all?
I think we've got to have a serious conversation about that. Obviously, there's been water resource mismanagement, forest management mistakes, all sorts of problems. And it does come down to leadership, and it appears to us that state and local leaders were derelict in their duty in many respects. So that's something that has to be factored in. I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but it'll be part of the discussion for sure.
What about the debt limit increase? What about tying the debt limit increase to it?
There's some discussion about that, but we'll see where it goes.
So there's been a forest mismanagement. So we gotta make sure the forest management is okay, and then we'll see where it goes. So that was obviously Speaker Mike Johnson kind of echoing what Senate Majority Whip John Brusso, whatever the hell this guy, John Barrasso, excuse me. This is what this asshole had to say on Face the Nation.
Heartbreaking to hear the fire chief say that they've diverted all of this money away from the fire department to be used for social programs when they were already stretched too thin.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there because the fire chief did say that the money had been not granted fully to the LAFD. But social programs, if anyone has taken a look at the bar graph budget, please take a moment to look at the bar graph budget for Los Angeles, and you will see that the biggest line item is not a social program. I don't even know what social program there would be, but
I know they were talking about there was like $100,000 in there for homeless AIDS prevention or something like that. Dollars in a $900 and something million budget, so it's like whatever, a fraction of a percent type thing.
Right. I just have to throw this up here because we need to just look at it. So real quick, that big line item at the bottom that is outpacing everything else, that's the police.
Right.
Those are cops. So the next biggest line item, there's like a discretionary sort of larger fund, but the next biggest line item is libraries. So I just feel like if we didn't have as many, I mean, the Republicans are already trying to take away books from people. We didn't have as many books. This wouldn't have been a problem. More money to the fire department and less money for books.
Any ideas? I mean, they would love to
get
rid of all the book money and buy more flak jackets and bulletproof cop cars and whatever else they spend all that money on.
Exactly, the stuff that they're policing residents over in Altadena with. But here's more.
Yes, I expect there's going to be hearings. There's going to be requests of Congress. There can't be a blank check on this, however, because people want to make sure that as rebuilding occurs, as things go on in California, they have to be resilient so that these sorts of things can't happen again. And the policies of the liberal administration out there, I believe, have made these fires worse.
Do you expect, though, that Congress and Republicans will still help these Americans in need, even if they don't like their local politics and the party?
I expect that there will be strings attached to money that is ultimately approved, and it has to do with being ready the next time, because this was a gross failure this time.
Sick, man.
Yeah, they said during those hurricanes last year, they were accusing Joe. They're like, Joe Biden is withholding federal aid to these people in need for political purposes, and it's despicable, which was like, that wasn't true the whole time. And then now this is happening in California, and those same people are like, what we really need to do here is withhold some of this aid for political purposes. That seems the most prudent course of action. Plus, I always think that, like, that's not surprising though. I mean, they do that all the time. That the hypocrisy is like their, that is their bread and butter. But they have
I'm loving all the other accents that Trey could do, in addition to your fake Southern accent that you regularly put on.
You really think? Why would I pick
clicks?
this act? That you think for clicks? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know
I think my wife would have divorced me by now because I'm method with it. I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis. I never don't use this accent, So if I
yeah. When you're not on streaming or on stage though, you're like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Trey."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I could even fake not having it so I could pretend to go along with your bit right now, but I can't.
No, but anyway, sorry. Yeah.
What was I talking about?
I was trolling you, and we were talking about how Republicans.
Yeah, the other thing, and the anchor there alluded to it at the end, where it's like, it won't matter, but like, there's a lot of Republicans that are affected by this,
Yep.
who could be like hurt directly. It's like, first of all, of course, they shouldn't punish Democrats who are American citizens for being a Democrat, but like, it doesn't surprise me that they would openly do that. I don't expect anything else from them as far as that goes. But there's a lot of Republicans affected by these fires in California right now, who are going to get screwed over by their party to make a political point. And if I were them, I would, raise hell about it and or consider, maybe walking away
from a party that wants to walk away from you and blame you for everything. I mean, that was the thing. You were right about North Carolina and Florida right in October, before the election. All the Republicans were like, it's interesting that this is happening in red states. It's like, it's happening in literally every state.
Right.
It's not that, whatever. It's not that interesting that a hurricane is happening in Florida, although the hurricane of that size, yes. But yeah, they were blaming Democrats then. They're blaming Democrats when it's a blue state. They're blaming Democrats when it's a red state. Somehow it's still all politicized. And again, even people who I'm sure are Democratic loving, little resistance libs like Henry Winkler, it's like, no matter what, people just are not willing to wrap their minds around climate change. And they're so fearful of, if they do, what it would mean for their so-called first world way of life, what it would mean for their bottom line, what it would mean for rethinking the economy, rethinking capitalism, rethinking infinite growth on a finite planet, and how it's directly at odds with our own survival, to say nothing of other species on this planet. So
yeah, not even like long-term business savvy. It's going to cost, even like the plutocrats, and we're talking about the bottom line and the profits and all that, they're going to burn too eventually. Do you know what I mean? I guess a lot of guys are old enough that it doesn't matter, and they're like, screw my kids.
Yep.
But still, it's not like, it doesn't even make good fiscal sense in the long term, in my opinion, because, it's the whole like ruling over a kingdom of ashes thing,
literally.
Like it's short-sighted, but I'm not surprised. Short-sighted and greedy.
Before I let you go, speaking of Republicans in California, because they exist, of course, they weren't
6 million of them, actually. I looked it up earlier today. 6 million Californians voted for Trump in 2024. Probably more that are
6 million Californians voting for Trump. What are we, 40? 20? How many are we? We're like between 28 and 40 million. How many are we? Is that ridiculous to say we're like,
I don't know. Well, most people just don't vote, period.
Well, yes, the majority of us don't.
Yeah.
So I just had to put this up, speaking of Republicans, because this is really fun. We all remember the Ted Cruz Cancun vacation that happened to coincide with the snowstorm, leaving behind their dog. They literally left behind the dog. I can't get over that. Maybe there was someone taking care of it, but it's just so funny, that image. The entire California House delegation was over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago, except for one guy David Valado, who actually was voted to impeach Donald Trump after Jan 6th. So, of course, he wasn't invited. They joined representatives from New York and New Jersey to discuss the SALT deduction. California representatives Jay Obernoit, Tom McClintock, Kevin Kiley, Doug LaMalfa, Daryl Issa, Ken Calvert, Vincent Fong, and Young Kim were spotted in a photo with Trump this weekend when they could have been back at home seeking ways to help, even if the fire isn't in their district. The fire is definitely in some of those people's districts. So that's what Republicans are doing. You think they're going to be better? No. They're going to go over to Donald Trump and be like, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you? My constituents are fleeing for their lives. How can I help you?
100%. And they'll work together to help, the billionaires and stuff. And that'll be that. But yeah, the people on the ground being the constituents, they'll very, very bottom of the list,
Yeah. It's disgusting. And you're just like, they're never going to get called on. No fucking Republican is going to call them on that. And then the last thing on this tempering the aid stuff, which I guess these Republicans are fine with. Are they going to go along with Mike Johnson? All these California Republicans will be like, yes, please, suspend aid to my state until we Republicans gain the majority in this state, which will not happen, never will happen, shan't happen. But just like the ultimate cucking, you can't even stand up for your own goddamn state. You can't even stay. Everyone is freaking out about Karen Bass being in Ghana. And I don't fucking know. Maybe it was a bad move. Maybe it was a fine move. She came back. But these fools are literally at Mar-a-Lago when they could be in their state helping with recovery. They're over there talking shit about Democrats and Cal Fire and Gavin Newsom, who I got plenty of shit to talk about, but at least he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows what he's talking about. You listen to Gavin Newsom and you're like, okay, that guy is like, he is a slimy little politician, but he actually understands Cal Fire. He understands the way these wildfires, he's been at he's here in LA still,
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
he knows how words work, which is more you can say for
he knows how words work.
A lot of them. Yeah.
And Nina Turner with this tweet coming in, they want to condition federal aid to California, but not condition aid to Israel. Absolutely shameful. Think about that. I feel like that is a perfect way to frame this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get, but I will say though, like, no one should be at all surprised by it. I mean, he literally did this before, right? In his first, didn't Trump do this, or at least talked about doing it?
He was threatening to do it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's come up before,
Right. He came over, and I just want to say, for all the we need to clear the brush, I was looking into it. You can't actually clear the brush or do controlled burns without risking massive destruction. It's not just easy. Can you imagine, Trey, they conduct a controlled burn and it accidentally hits a house or a car. You never hear the end of it.
More Democrat incompetence at
exactly.
work.
It's not just easy to be like, we'll just burn that down. Release all the fucking toxins into the air. Release all the smoke into the air. I'm sure Angelenos will be okay with that.
Also, on top of that, as far as the brush thing, I saw, and I don't remember his name. I'd have to look it up. But there was some former fire chief who's, he knows fires. He's fire smart. He said that he was talking about he was talking about the brush clear and all that. He's like, look, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been done or whatever. He was like, but the fact is, this particular fire, he was like, you could have put a 10-lane freeway in front of it and it wouldn't have slowed it down a bit. It's with the conditions that they had, he was like, it would not have mattered.
Build the wall. Build the wall.
But yeah, I don't know. At least the winds are picking back up again, and
we can do it all over again. I'm sure there will be many unhoused people with lighters that we can blame for these unprecedented fires. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.